Third call. We've closed off the opposition. Is there anything else to be added? Has anybody got anything they'd like to speak to that hasn't been already said? Edmonton Skydive.
Thank you, Debbie. I just want to address a few things that I've heard over the day. The member for Skydive Toronto told a very nice story. He started his remarks, and he talked about before scoring 20, or I forget what he said, but a long time ago he saw skydiving. He thought it was it moved him, and he told a nice story. Well, when I started skydiving, not quite as long ago, but still a long time ago, relative work was the new thing. For the younger people in the audience, that's what we called formation skydiving back then. And I thought that was pretty amazing. I watched that as a student, because I was actually a student at the provincial championships. And at the end of the meet, a lot of the people that are here today were officiating at the meet, and they announced the overall champion of the meet. And the overall champion had nothing to do with the four-way teams that I watched. All it was the combination of the serious events, style and accuracy. And there were clearly people in the sport at that time that didn't consider relative work to be legitimately skydiving, that it was just some foolishness that the kids were doing. We've moved on from that, but in many ways we haven't. The new things come up and people go, well, I don't know what that is, wingsuit, that's not really free fall, you can't count that as free fall time, you kind of got a half a parachute out, or, and we move on, and we've added a lot of things to skydiving. And so to suggest that because tunnel skydiving is different, that it isn't part of it, I don't see this argument much different than I saw the style and accuracy versus relative work argument of 35 years ago. Another comment that I heard was, and the member from Niagara, I believe, brought it up both times that he spoke, this talk of discriminating against some members. Having two kinds of members in a group is not an unusual situation. I know that on the board table, Izzy has the ASPA vote. Well, ASPA has three types of members in their organization. They have members. They have members from out of province who are not allowed to win medals. They have but they're still members. They have student members. And in fact, we actually have two kinds of members. We have student members. So when somebody comes to take a student, they are a different kind of member, and they don't have all the privileges that they get when they buy their second membership later on.
I need to speak to that.
That's wrong.
Actually.
Can we hold the comment
Well,
until he's done?
I may have spoken in error about ASPA. If I have, if I have, it's because it has changed since I was on the board. Because when I was on the board, there were absolutely three types of members. But you could correct me when I'm finished if that in fact is true. The other issue that's come up is the issue of liability. And they say, well, we're going to have minors competing. Does that open CSPA up to liability that we're not prepared to take on, or we're not ready to take on? To which I say, generally it's the operator and not the sanctioning body that gets sued. When you look at Hockey Canada and Soccer Canada and these things. But more importantly, if this is an issue for minors competing in tunnel, then it's a really big issue for the sanctioned 16 and 17-year-olds that we allow to take first jump courses and do tandems. And we have argued in this, not this physical room, but at these meetings, we have argued about whether to allow people between 16 and 18 to be students at CSPA. And this body has elected to allow it, even though many people don't, many individual drop zones don't. CSBA does allow that, and so we're already open to that. And I would suggest that we're a lot more open to liability from somebody skydiving than we are from somebody in a tunnel. The reason we are so adamant about keeping children out of our sport is because it isn't because you could die skydiving. It's because we know that some people are gonna die skydiving. You know, it's a fact of our sport that people predictably die every once in a while in our sport. That isn't true in tunnel flying. Okay, we don't expect anybody to die in tunnel flying. Doesn't mean it can't happen, just like it can happen when you're skiing or playing hockey or doing a host of other activities, but it's not expected. And that's the real difference between parachuting and being in the tunnel. And so I think that the liability issues that are brought up really already exist, and so they're outside the scope of this argument, because if we're concerned about that, then we really need to worry about the liability argument for the junior tandem students and the junior first jump students. The only other thing I will say is the member from Niagara talked about things being unknown costs, and unknown, and you know, we don't know how it's going to work out. And he said, you know, we're old, we're resistant to change. And it's like, and that's why it's kind of sad that we've all got gray hair in the people making the decisions here. Not everybody is, but the people speaking seem to be. And if we're have that low a risk tolerance, it's a bit ironic because we are a skydiving organization, you know. And you're right in that we can't know all the ways that things are going to turn out if we go down this road. But we need to remember that this board is still going to authorize any money that gets spent. And if we don't want to authorize the money in a particular direction, we simply don't put it in the budget. And that's just the way that goes. Well, in no way are we losing control of any fiscal abilities by accepting this. So I do think that we should accept the motion. I think it's the way forward. And I really feel that if we don't, we're going to find ourselves left behind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you wish to correct me on that?